deadly overdose trip. Let me start out by saying this was the absolute worst and most terrifying experience I have ever lived through, perhaps second only to the death of my dad. You may be wondering, why in the hell would you take 55 milligrams of 5-MeO DMT? Well, I had no idea. What I thought I'd gotten a hold of was normal NN-DMT. Thinking that's what I had, I measured it out and proceeded to vape it with the 2-liter/foil paper method. I was expecting a trip similar to all the other experiences and videos, a very colorful meeting with higher intelligence while my body laid back and chilled. That couldn't have been farther from what actually occurred. I inhaled deeply to clear the entire bottle of smoke. I held it for maybe 5 to 7 seconds before I started to feel an odd vibration in my head. I was expecting this, but not so soon. I hadn't even exhaled before there was a rather loud hum in my head. At that point I laid back and closed my eyes. What happened next I will try to describe to the best of my ability, but words will do it no justice. It was pure hell. Possibly even literal hell. Visually, there is not much to speak of. It felt as if my soul and consciousness were sucked apart from my body with the strength of a black hole. I was half lucid at first. Enough so I could think to myself, you really effed up. You're about to die. Obviously, I was going to fight this as hard as possible. In the end there was no use, however. Physically, it felt as if something with a force I could never describe had me pinned to the bed. I remember being unable to move my face or arms as I struggled. It felt as if my skin was melting under the pressure. The more I fought it, the more intense the violence became inside the black hole. Now, it felt as if my body were being flung around the inside of a tornado and crashing against things at breakneck speed, all while moving at what seemed like the speed of light in an eternal darkness. Once I was completely beaten up and unable to fight, I surrendered to death. I was completely disassociated from the real world and any sense of self. It was the most jarring feeling. During this time, I actually felt myself stop breathing. Time did not exist in this dark eternity I was in, but I woke up face down on the floor at some point. It took another 20 minutes after I woke up until I felt somewhat normal again. Even then, the death that I had just experienced was all that I could think about. This wasn't ego death. This was actual death. I noticed that my legs were stinging. I looked down to discover that I had gouged them during my trip. I mean seriously deep scratches from a guy that barely has fingernails. Not only that, I had bruises all over my legs from where I'd apparently been convulsing and kicking furniture. I'm thankful to still be here. I urge anyone out there to really know what you're buying and test it yourself if possible. 5-MeO DMT is nothing I'll ever come close to doing again, and it is not to be taken lightly. Be safe.